Well, hello everyone. Welcome to what has to be probably my favorite week of the entire season. We are in week 5 and we are in Japan, my kind of adopted homeland as of right now. My name is Zotomo and I'm joined as always by Calamity. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty great. Yeah, Japan, lots of really great locations, but also can be really annoying for our drivers, Calamity.
Yeah, it kind of depends a bit. With 5 minutes, you usually have enough time to find like a major road town as long as you're not on an island in the middle of nowhere. But it can then be quite difficult to figure out where exactly you are. Loads of mountain roads, where you might have like 17 different turns before you come to any sort of intersection, which might help you in pinpointing. And
Mhm.
even highways can sometimes be a bit annoying if you're pretty far away from either exit and it's a relatively straight highway. Um, but yeah, other than that, normally I've got a pretty good time in Japan. And yeah, we'll see if that was the case this week as well.
Yeah, I think you said it in one of our previous shows that this back end of the season is more of your liking in
Yeah.
terms of maps, at least. Starting here with Japan, definitely for me, is more to my liking for this one. Well, the 5 drivers we have today are Max, FI, Mwilcom, Calamity, M the Basement, and then finishing with me. So yeah, let's start with Max FI in round 1. And this is pretty standard Japanese suburb.
Yep. I got
Nice road, though.
I got turned around and teleported around in this so many
Mm,
times. I think
yeah.
I think the way I wanted to take wasn't even that difficult, but just because I got teleported around so often, I think I had to go back to the start and retry to go that way like
Mm,
4 times before it actually worked.
mm. Yeah, so we are outside of a city. We've got some roads, but no good signs yet. And the way Max is flying, I'm not really able to read any of those signs.
Yeah.
Uh, but if you can't read Japanese, don't worry. There's a lot of English, and so just look for those nice big blue road signs. There were some numbers back there. He went right past.
Yeah, this kind
But
of general region, not necessarily this region in Japan, but this kind of landscape where you've got lots of fields and pretty much nothing else is always for me the most annoying part of Japan because it
mm,
usually has very little in the way of signs, and you kind of just want to get out of it as quickly as possible.
yep, and also those uh, this location, you might feel like you're far away from a city, but you're actually pretty close. And as you can see, going back to the start and heading the opposite direction, Max here is getting a whole lot more urban compared to the other way. So be a bit deceiving.
Yep.
Road numbers not well organized in Japan, but area codes are. So if you want to learn something, learn those. And there we go. Finally, 410,
Yep.
409. But those are prefectural roads, which are small.
Road numbers
So
actually, just to make a point here, they are relatively well organized. It's just not the organization that you might expect.
yes, exactly. And Hamamatsu there, a very large city, as you can tell, even though it looks like we're not near one, we are. And Toyohashi
Yep.
as well. So now looking for the intersection of the 409 and the 410. There we go. Oitsu also right there. Not too bad.
Goes a POI for the groove in Grizzly.
Yeah, Japanese store names in English are hilarious. There's some good subreddits just for weird English in Japan, and it's always a good time.
Mm.
So there is a drugstore and a kombini family mart. Now to work your way back. Now this little loop we're in is pretty interesting. It's going to actually prove to be helpful for pinpointing, I think, because it stands out if you look at the map.
Mm. I mean, there's quite a lot of just pretty much very similar looking roads here, but
Mm,
just going by the curves, you shouldn't be having too much trouble here pinpointing it. Just gotta be methodical and look at where the curves are.
mm.
The Grooving
Yeah,
Grizzly is an
again.
English school, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still a shop name, so
Yep.
makes sense. English name for an English school. Doctor, a minute and just under a minute and a half left to go here. For Max, he's in the close neighborhood, but again, kind of like you said, Calamity, getting a little bit lost here in
Yeah.
these roads, which can be a little bit tricky. Macy hasn't gone backwards; like he's always gone forwards from the starting location.
Yeah, that's
So
true. I don't know why he chose to do that. Because I think going backwards would actually help him out. Let me actually
yes,
look.
when you go backwards,
Yeah.
you realize you're on a little loop, and oh, actually, he's gonna figure it out. There we go. Just as we say that, with just under a minute, and you also see that park entranceway right there at the end of that road as well.
Mm.
And now it's going to use the house as a guide. Confirm that that is a park. Sure enough,
Yep.
that looks about
Trees,
right.
lawn, looks like a park.
Yeah. Oh, very nice. And with 30 seconds left, he will guess and getting an ace in that round for Max. Yeah, so a little bit tricky at the start, had to wander around a bit, but again, once you find those nice signs, Calamity, he was able to really hone in pretty well.
Yeah, that's usually the way it goes in sort of suburban Japan, where you just have to find a sign with either a national road or some bigger cities you recognize. And then you can start looking at pinpointing and stuff like these smaller roads. And if you've got enough time, you can even find your location, as shown here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 minutes can be quite generous, so we're hoping to have lots of good scores here in Japan for this one. I think the big clue for this round, having Hamamatsu on the sign, pretty well known major city, not too hard to find on the map at all. How did everybody else do in this round, Calamity?
Yeah, mostly 5Ks, except for Mwilcom, who struggled to find the location here with only 123 points, and M the Basement dropped 2 points while pinpointing, and
Mm.
you didn't necessarily need Hamamatsu. I probably wouldn't have recognized the city, but on a sign that Max went past that we saw shortly, before he saw that blue sign, there was also something that basically told you're in Aichi Prefecture. And that also made
Ah,
it quite
okay.
a bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously, as we saw with Max, he did spend almost over 2 minutes kind of wandering in countryside, and if M. Wickham did the same, we can understand. Just having no idea where you are,
Yep,
which is kind of how Japan plays.
I
So,
think most people did the same in that round. Quite
mhm.
quite long times for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll shift over to round number two and take a look at M. Wickham and his second round, see if he can recover. A 1-2-3. Very nice. He was going for that. Well done. And we'll start in this lovely winter scenery. Got some snow on the ground, which is actually quite rare to see in most of the cities in Japan because they are in such low lying areas.
Mm,
So we might be a little bit up in the mountains here.
could be. Um, yeah, obviously with Japan being an island and
Mhm.
a relatively mountainous island to boot, most of the general cities lie on like the outskirts of the country, sort of on the coast.
Mhm.
Therefore, well, very, very slightly above sea level. Yeah, doesn't snow that much there, but yeah, you can't be sure that it's in the mountains just from a bit of snow because you never know, what
Yeah.
time of the year the coverage was shot in. And now it's pretty beautiful, probably autumn.
Yeah, it looks like maybe early autumn. There was a sign there, as well as train station, which is going to be really helpful to point. Now, this is a really good sign. These national roads are pretty well labeled, even better than the national highways in those
Yep.
kind of rounded triangles, and they're pretty easy to find on the map.
And my
It seems like we understand why he didn't do too well in round one. His internet is not exactly
yep,
playing nice, so not able to move very fast, which could definitely limit the information he can gather.
my weirdly focused knowledge comes into play again here. I had no idea what or where Hamamatsu was, but I know Otaru. Um, doesn't seem like he necessarily knows where it is, and also apparently wasn't too bothered by the sign that told him the highway he's close to. That is something
Yeah.
that might be pretty useful to look at straight away. But maybe he wants to figure out something else first.
Yeah, if you really want to devote yourself to learning kanji on those prefecture roads, not on the big blue ones, but on the small one there on the side, you can see the 956. They have the prefecture written on them. So they're very nice to find. Another big clue that Mwilcom has here is those red and white arrows pointing down to the road. All of that points to Hokkaido.
Yep. Also, he's got their Route 5, so that's a national road that he could look for. But I think it also said Route 5 on those highway signs he found, just not in the way you're used to.
Yep, so there is the E5, and there is Otaru.
Yep.
He is zooming in on the area. There's the E5A even, and there we go. And there's that Kyoya station.
Yep.
Very nice. So with 2 minutes to go, he's at least in the right town. It's going to get him a lot more than 123 points.
Definitely.
Very nice sign here as well at the intersection.
Yeah, now he just needs to remember where he came from and where he traveled to get here.
Yeah. Not too far. I think it was not too far north was the train station. So he really wants that sign to load. There we go. So slightly to the south. So that's probably how you get on the interstate right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at this point, I think you should go back to the start. And if you remembered that he passed the train tracks, you can never be sure if people do remember. But if he did, then that's what he should look at, because he was this close to the train tracks. And if you make it there again, you've got a lot of a better idea to help you pinpointing, just because you then know, okay, the road crosses the train tracks in this direction. The train tracks maybe go that way. So a lot of help for pinpointing.
Indeed. So he does, in fact, go back to the start with just under a minute to go, and now with closing in on 30 seconds. This intersection is really nice as well. It makes kind of a triangle, which is a nice feature to look at for roads. So where's the triangle form? And we can see that just to the left. Kyoya Station, there is a triangle in the road.
Mm-hmm.
Couple houses being built.
He's got 15 more seconds, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now he sees the train tracks, so he should realize he's south of it.
He's getting closer. There we go. Quick adjustment. Now, if he had more time, maybe counting houses, but he doesn't. So you'll have to see how it does. And 18 meters, but good enough for an ace in this round, Calamity.
Good enough for an ace for sure. Probably also if his internet was working a bit better at that point, he would have had enough time to figure out where it was exactly. But as you said, close enough. Not in a running for a 25k anyway, so he can definitely be happy for a 5k. And yeah, pretty good job.
Yeah, well done. Those signs were definitely abundant, and he made good use of them for that. We can see you, Calamity, getting another 5k in this round. How did the other drivers fare?
Yep, there were only 2 people in the whole competition that didn't get a full 5k, and neither of them will be shown today. So 5ks for everyone.
Well, very nice. Well, let's move on to our round number 3 then. And that is you, Calamity. And we can see we start off in a bit of wet weather. Not the best camera.
Yep. I like rain though. I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's always interesting when the camera has a little like a leaf stuck on it, or rain, or something. Kind of reminds you this is actually a picture.
Yeah.
For that,
it's even more fun finding coverage like that in countries where you don't usually find it. Like there's this tiny piece of road in Lesotho, for example, that's like maybe 100 meters or so that's got rain coverage, and pretty much nothing else in the country does.
Here we go. Let's do the 432.
Yep, just looking for the road.
No
idea where these towns are, but
yeah, that national highway right there, the 432, is something to search for.
got close here with the numbers,
There we
and there
go.
it is.
There's Matsue.
There's Okuizumo. And now it's just a matter of, okay, 20 kilometers to that. Not the easiest to figure out. I know we came from a road to the west. There's quite a few, but yep, at this point, just trying to figure out which one. Unfortunately, there was no number for the road that we started on.
Yeah. Those smaller signs, which no one has actually looked at in great detail as of yet, do always have the district and township on them, which you can sort of see in those gray, light gray names off in the middle of nowhere. So those can be helpful for you to search for if you know how to read them, or you can simply play a bit of a matching game. You know, oh, there's a line that goes here and does this, and then does this. So,
yep. At this point,
this is gonna prove a little bit tricky because there's no real point of interest. It's a long, kind of curvy, not really windy, but just kind of curvy road.
Yeah, what I'm doing here is making sure what does the road look like if I go a kilometer, 2 kilometers south. Not 100% accurately in a way that you go, okay, there's this curve and then there's this curve, but just a general feeling. Does it go more north, southwest? Does it go more southeast? Do you get to any cities, any small towns? And I did that, and I was confident enough that I had chosen the right road leaving to the west.
There we go. Yeah, what was interesting is that you found the road number more north of the location and you worked your way down, and
Yep.
I found mine way south and worked my way up. So the roads to the south were kind of almost in the similar direction, that kind of northwest, southeast kind of winding pathway. And they all had lots of bridges. They all had rivers and little stuff around them. So it was like, oh, good grief. Which there's like 3 or 4 roads that were almost like it could be either any one of these. So, yeah, I'm still curious as to what exactly. I think this was the first road that looked like it.
Yeah, you kind of went down, guessed, like, I knew 20 kilometers to Okuizumo and 78 to Matsue, and then judged the distance for, okay, that should be 20 kilometers roughly. And then I walked south from there and kind of just looked, okay, how many roads are there that go to the west? Well, there weren't actually that many. And I just chose one. Like, there were 2, I think, that could have been it. And I just looked, if I go south from the main road some more, usually it becomes pretty obvious which of the 2, if you've only got 2 roads, which of the 2 it has to be. Yeah, the most annoying part here was then pinpointing, because on the map there was like no houses whatsoever, and you pretty much just
see right there. There's nothing.
Got a couple of curves, and that one like small little river that goes to the north, that I used as well, mainly to make sure that this is the right place. But even then, you'd still got that, like, it's not a very long straight part, but probably enough so that if you don't pay attention, you could fail to get a 5K there. So I spent a lot of time on making really sure that I'm as close as possible there.
Yeah, and this obviously proved quite tricky. As you can see, the time that you played it, Calamity, you're the only one to get a 5K. How did everybody else fare in this one? Probably the hardest round by far so far.
Yeah, definitely the hardest round. Even out of all the players competing, only Wakerlock and Boxer got a 5K as well. And both being a bit further away, Boxer just about being within the 5K range with 28 meters away. Yeah, our players, you got relatively close with 4,912 points. Carp even closer, just losing out on 2 points. Pretty much just on the wrong part of the road. I'm assuming ran out of time because he used his full 5 minutes. Would have probably 5K'd as well if he had a minute more. The Baseman losing out on 204 points. He was a bit further to the north near Okuizumo. And Mwilcom and Max had a rough time with this one, both getting under 500 points here, both quite a bit too far to the northeast, both around Sendai actually.
Yeah, I think that one sign that we did see with Matsue was probably the best clue if you didn't have the
Yeah.
road number. It's a pretty big city. If you're able to find that sign, you could scan all of Japan, and it stands out on a pretty high zoom level, and then use that to work yourself in from there for that. But yeah, like I said, I think I was one or two roads down from this road that we're actually at for this one, unfortunately. Well, let us jump then into round number 4 with M the Baseman. And let's see what we can get here. And another sort of smaller town set up to start, Calamity.
Yep. This can always be annoying, just as we saw last time, the last rounds. You never really know if the houses are on a map, if all of the little pathways that go through these houses are. But fortunately, here you make it to a bigger road pretty quickly, and so it shouldn't be too difficult to pinpoint.
Prefectural 149, 179. There we go. So we have Yoshihara is the township. And I was reading the township name and I missed the number.
424.
424. He will start in Kyushu and start to look for that number.
Yep. Well, you've got to start somewhere. If you've got no idea where the numbers could be, it's probably best to just start at either end of the country and work your way through.
Exactly. Covers about half the country, but is unable to see anything else. That one is not a prefectural road, so there is no prefect name on there, which is unfortunate. Could be helpful. I didn't go this way, I don't think.
I think I walked that way for a bit, but not that far.
Ryujin, Shingu, Itogawa, and the 424 still.
Yeah, that's a bit far zoomed out, I would say.
Yeah. So the real tricky thing about the Japanese highways is they are numbered. Oh, there's the 424. There we go. In Wakayama. Is they are ordered, but the numbers repeat. So it's ordered from north to south for like a bunch of numbers, and then it resets and starts to the north again.
Yep.
So you have to know where those breakpoints are. And I don't know them. It's kind of it's better, honestly, I think, to just learn area codes. I mean, because if you're gonna find a road number, you might find an area code as well, so that'll help you even more.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to know the breakpoints; you can just check them. But yeah, I rarely find area codes in Japan. Actually,
really,
I find national roads a lot more. I've got a rough idea on where area codes are. I know it starts low and increases down towards the south, but yeah, I trust in road numbers more.
Yeah, there's the trick of cell phone numbers, which don't follow the rule, and also phone numbers that look like area codes but don't have area codes, which can be tricky. So yeah, I basically don't trust it unless I see those brackets. If there is not a 3-digit number in a bracket, I don't look at it. So there we go. There's the 179. Now he's going to work his way back up the hill with just under 2 minutes left to go to find it. Now this one was tricky for me because just like you said, Calamity, I was not sure which one of these roads was actually in reality because the map looks like there's roads everywhere. And I was like, I cannot find half of these roads.
Yeah.
So I was really hoping my counting was correct.
Yeah, Baseman.
And the Baseman feels pretty confident there, and sure enough, works out for him as well, getting that 5K for that one. Very nice for him there.
Yep, he pinpointed it very quickly. I'm pretty sure, like, he took about the same time as I did, but I think I took like 1.5 minutes pinpointing. Just because there, as you said, there were so many small roads going off the main road in every sort of direction, and you're never really sure. Like M the Baseman saw that small road going off to the north, and I saw that too, of course. But I was like, could be this one, could be this one. It could just not be on the map.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I took a lot of time to make sure. But on the other hand, I was also still on for a 25K, so I needed to make sure that I didn't drop any points. Whereas Baseman had already dropped like a couple of points here or there. So if he's 2 or 3 points off, it probably doesn't change too much anymore for him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think I found the general area within a minute or a minute and a half, and then it was just like 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes of pinpointing. Just making sure all the roads were accounted for, doing my best because I was on for 25K. Maybe he getting a little bit lucky here. The fact that the first road he thought he found was in fact the correct one.
Yeah.
So for him, but still, an ace is an ace and a worthy accomplishment in a country as tricky as Japan. So congrats to him on that. Everybody else, Calamity, I think you and me both got 5Ks. How did Mwilcom and Max?
Yeah, and Wickham, not too bad. 4996, so pretty good, not just not too bad. Max dropping 1 point, just a bit too far to the east, struggling a bit with pinpointing there as well. And Carp dropped about 381 points, and was quite a bit too far to the southeast. Still on the right national road, but probably just couldn't find that 179.
Very nice. And I think you told me that M the Basement was the fastest of anybody in this round.
He was the fastest out of the people that we've got, and he was still among the fastest 5Ks for sure. But just Boxer was a bit quicker.
Okay, very nice. Well, let's move on to our final round then, and take a look at how I managed to finish up this race with round number 5. And right off the start, a tunnel is a beautiful thing for pinpointing. We have the Hokkaido cabbage, which is a kind of plant that gets pointed out in a lot of Japanese meta. It's only in Hokkaido. And that sign, I was hoping had something on it, but it didn't. So keep on going. The first time I read about the Hokkaido cabbage, I didn't believe it. I'm like, no, this plant doesn't look like it's that unique, and I think I've seen this somewhere else before. But the more I play, the more it's like, yep, it stands out, and it's pretty much only in Hokkaido. So
yeah, helps you out a bit.
These snowdrift barriers and those arrows again, further confirmation of where we are. I missed the sign. There we go. It's the 58. As well as we're on the Niseko-sen Road in Hokkaido. There we get a good view of those prefecture name on that on the 58. There's Niseko.
Mm-hmm.
Now where's the 58? There it is.
And there's
what do you know? There's a tunnel. There we go. So now you might be able to lose making sure there isn't a second tunnel, because that would be a good disaster. If there's 2 tunnels, then something like that. Just trying to see if there's any other clues where it might be.
Yeah, thankfully the 58 isn't all that long, so it doesn't take too long to check if there's another tunnel.
Again, on for 25. Oh no, I'm not on a 25K. I lost my my round 3 was horrible. That's right. Never mind. But still wanted to finish up pretty well. There's the name of the tunnel, which is nice. Most tunnels in Japan are named, and most of them will show up on the map if they're any significant length. There we go. Goiro something. I don't know what that third kanji is. Trying to figure out where
the difficult part here now is actually pinpointing that exact spot on the relatively straight piece of road.
And I think I do try to count it. Yep, here we go. I will count arrow clicks. I had 1 bad round. I don't want to have a second one, not in Japan. I have a reputation to maintain. If there's any country I can do well, it's got to be Japan. So, and the numbers show that we are in fact quite close to the tunnel entrance.
Yep.
Only a few clicks away from it, while we're quite a ways away from the curve. And now it's just trying to make my mind up before I click. And processing, and a 5K, 15 meters. You're a little bit closer there, Calamity. I was probably pushing my luck a little bit with that spot. but enough with to get the ace on that one.
Yeah,
So
thankfully Japan quite long. They do get quite a bit of leeway to still be within the 5K range. I think it's about 30 meters.
oh,
So
okay.
not in too much danger here. But yes, for any smaller country, 50 meters is cutting it very close.
Yeah, you really, if you're really working on your pinpointing, you really want to be under that 10-meter mark, if you can, and even as close as 5, obviously is ideal, but that 10 is a good marker for your practice for that. But yeah, so an ace for me here, and we can see that you got an ace as well, Calamity. Our other 3 drivers, how did they fare?
And Mwilcom, again, not too fortunate here. Only getting 223 points. He was all the way down in the south, near Kyoto, actually. And 5Ks for everyone else. Also, not too much time taken. Everyone pretty similar in terms of that. You were the quickest out of the 5 with 3 minutes 6, and I was the slowest with 4 minutes 4.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think you kind of see I pretty much knew where we were even quicker, and it's just me being slow and trying to give good commentary,
Mm.
and that I didn't really put my pin down instantly, but just making sure I do my due diligence to get that 5K. So yeah, overall though, Japan not too challenging. Round 3 did throw a bit of a curve at some of our drivers, and Calamity, the only one really to get that ace in that round. For that, so how did everybody finish up? Calamity, I think you were the first in first place overall
Yep.
with 25K. A perfect game. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, I got first, a bit slower than Boxer, so I didn't get points for the fastest 25K. Well, I say a bit slow. It was like over 4 minutes. But yeah, us two were the only ones to get a full-on perfect game here. On, I would say, not the easiest seed in Japan. It wasn't super hard, of course. There was no rounds
Mhm.
where there was no information, but you could have definitely had an easier seed. You finished in 5th place and get your first points of the season, which is nice for you.
Mhm.
The Basement just about sneaking into 10th place and getting that 1 point. Then we've got Max in 18th and Mwilcom in 21st. I think I actually I talked about carp quite a few times during this. I just realized because we actually got 6 videos sent in, and that usually means we have to exclude one of them. And in this case, I just chose Mwilcom over carp because Mwilcom actually got a 5K this time, and we don't see that too often from him.
Mhm.
No offense. So I didn't unmark Cobb though, so I kind of just forgot about that. Just for the record, he finished in 12th, just outside of the points.
Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah. So we saw a few rounds here that everybody managed to do really really well. That we watched, and even these drivers who are like we talked about the Baseman and Wickham down further down in the table this week. They're putting up really good numbers. They're capable within 4 minutes of getting an ace. But yeah, this competition is very strict, very hard. No head to heads, everybody versus everybody. So it's just very, very tight competition. So just, yeah, kind of congrats to all the drivers for putting up a good effort week after week in this very competitive format.
Hmm?
Well, and thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed us bringing you Japan. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. It is my favorite country to play in GeoGuessr for various reasons. Not only the fact that I live here, but I think it's just a really interesting country to try to play GeoGuessr in. So definitely try out the map yourself if you have the time. And we will see you all next time, and we will be in the Czech Republic, another really interesting country. Take care.
Bye.